Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome. We're going to be going over tactical arbitrage today, and we are now recording. So if you have any questions, any more questions you haven't already sent me, just post them in the chat, and we'll be sure to go over everything that you had questions with. The first thing is I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. We're gonna go over to tactical arbitrage. Oops. Pesky pull down. Let me just resize this. All right, so we're on our view data page, but I'm going to show you one of the newer features that's happened in the last month or so is the advanced user interface. And this is really one of the most exciting things, because now with the advanced user interface, now when you look at this, this is going to be blank, but after you log in, you click on advanced user, and it's not something that everybody is going to have a use for, but if you have a site that's not supported by tactical arbitrage, and they do support over 250 sites right now. So, you know, there are a ton of good sites on there, and more get added all the time. But if you have a site that's not currently in this list, then you can add it yourself, or you can hire a programmer who's familiar with XML, and they need to know XPath 1.0 to be able to do this. But what this is going to allow you to do is add a site that is not currently supported by tactical arbitrage. So when you add this, it doesn't add it for everybody. It's going to only add it for you. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to scan that site where nobody else has access to it. So it's going to really give you an edge against other people. And what you have to do is, it's just to set a rule. So you'd create, add new rule, and fill in this information that you would pull out of the site. And we do sell some lists. So we have put together some of these, and we can create them for you as well. If you can't find anybody, we did have a hard time finding somebody, but I was lucky enough to figure out that I had somebody on my staff who already knew how to do this. So I really didn't have to go out and search for it. But if they will either give you this data, or if you buy it from me or somebody else who's selling it, all you'll have to do is cut and paste. I'll show you what it looks like when you get one. Let's see. Look at Neiman Marcus. So here's the information from Neiman Marcus. You would basically copy and paste this data into tactical arbitrage. You see all the data up here on the screen already. You would just copy and paste that information in there, enter the name, active, you don't need it for debugging. That just adds extra logging, and save it. And you're done, and you can go over and start sourcing, and your sourcing is going to look the same as when you normally do it. So it'll be highlighted in blue. As you can see, we actually have quite a few of these. So when you're ready to do whatever it is, if it's Neiman Marcus, you can just type it in up here. And now you're sourcing at Neiman Marcus. You can use your bulk list. You can do whatever information you need to do. You can do it bulk, you can do it one category at a time, the same way as everything else works. So now there were some questions. What to require for a developer when hiring on Upwork, as well as how much you should be paying. You know, for something like this, it's a very, you know, small job, so I think it may be kind of hard to find a developer willing to just pull the information out of a page. Like I said, we had somebody on staff to do this, so it really wasn't very hard to do. So I'm going to get into a lot of, you know, maybe some more advanced things that we haven't talked about in the previous webinars we did, or the ones you may have attended with Alex, you know, which was just a general overview of, you know, how everything works. And, you know, so you got the program and, you know, really what do you do now? How are you finding, you know, the good deals? And one of the newest things down here that you should always have on is this Amazon out of stock. So if Amazon ever sold it and they were sold out, if this isn't clicked, it's just going to skip that because it's out of stock. And all the stuff here is pretty self-explanatory, but one of the newest things now, you know, I'm known as the grocery, you know, sourcing guy to most people. So, you know, we do a lot of grocery, but using tactical arbitrage was a big problem. And, you know, this view data page, I think, is going to be just as important to you as your sourcing page, because, you know, if things are mismatched, you may want to just skip them, but now you can mark them as mismatched. It's going to take it to a new page, and you can even select items and click up here to mark as mismatched. This was just added within the last couple of days. So if an item doesn't match, I removed a lot of the mismatches. You can now change the settings on it. You can edit the quantity. So if this was a 3-pack, you could edit the quantity and change it to that many units. And it's going to give you what your payout is on there. And I've done that to quite a few items. I believe this one, this one is a 2-pack. And you can now change your quantities in here, and it's going to update your buy cost as well as your payout. So this one I've already updated. There's now a 2-pack. As you can see here, I changed it, saved it previously, and right. So I've changed the quantity, and now. You know, the payout is no longer worth it. So it's, you know, you have a negative payout.
There's a second part to that question too.
Okay, John, you have to enter the, you have to enter the discount code, right? It does cost money, but I gave you the discount code to use. So you enter that at checkout, and it will give it to you for free. So as well, if it's a mismatch, you don't have to go to Amazon and start searching. You can just click on the search title, and it's going to take you right to Amazon and bring up, you know, bring up the keywords in the search. Now this is an exact match. So,
on camera. Listen, doesn't look like you chose.
Okay. So whatever was going on there, but these are already matched. But if it's not, you can just search the title and edit ASIN. You search the title, go over to Amazon. You can pull. No, this is. You know, the correct one, the correct match, but you can go into the listing and edit the ASIN, and update it, and it's going to update the information, as well as the circle. They don't have a lot of documentation in here, so I mean, if you don't know what's going on, then you know, it can get a little confusing. But this page doesn't automatically update. So if you've used some other tools, then Tactical Arbitrage would, you know, they automatically update. Tactical Arbitrage doesn't. So once it pulls this information here, it's just a list. But if you hit this this circle, then it's going to pull that information back from Amazon again, and get the new data. So if we go back up to the top, you can click on the Update Amazon Prices, and if you don't just want to update one, it will update all the Amazon prices for your data. You have to be careful though, because if you hit, if you have adjusted the pricing or units, you have to click on Update Adjusted Prices. So this is going to pull all the information, you know, in its native form, but if you've adjusted anything, then you have to update with the adjusted. This last button is to download this. This is going to download as a CSV. So if you're better looking at a spreadsheet, then you can just click that button and it's going to do that. So when you add things to your the mismatch page, if you click on the mismatch, I'm sure we have quite a few of these down here. Okay, obviously these aren't the same. So when you click as mark as mismatch, it's going to remove it from your page, and it's never going to show it to you again. So you can go and fix it yourself. If you don't want to fix it, you can just click on mark as mismatch. If you just want to remove it, if you mark it as mismatch, it's never going to show up in another scan until that mismatch has been fixed. So what you can do if you want to look at all the mismatches, if you click on View Data, there's some options. View Data, you can download all the spreadsheet. When you start downloading, finding a lot of stuff, it's going to get into over 1,000 items. This will only display 1,000 items. So once it gets to 1,000, it's not going to display past that. You can't look at the pages. So you'll have to delete it, either delete some or download it. Also, when you hit the heart, it's going to take you to the saved list. And what the saved list is everything that you've hit the heart on, and you're going to get, you know, we use it as a buy list, so everything we want to buy, we're going to save it and move it over there. And the last two are mismatch page, which is going to be all the mismatches that people mark. So you can go in there and correct them. I'm not sure why these aren't coming up for images, but these are all the pages that people have marked as mismatches. So you can view this, and then the ones that you fix, you can you can display on your own. So your matches, these are all the mismatches that you have fixed. Which is not, because we don't do that. So if we go into the mismatch page and fix anything, you go over to your matches and then see everything that's that you've repaired that were mismatches. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and we're going to go over here and do a search. I hope people are already searching. We basically been doing searches 24 hours a day since we were one of the first people to sign up. So we've been doing. Sure, Jay, go ahead.
Just really quickly before you moved on, you glazed over something that we do that I think adds a tremendous value to the software, which is the saved list, which we are using exactly the same way that you are as a buy list. And we are now, am I too loud? Is that, no, okay. Which we are then using exactly the same way we use our retail arbitrage buy lists. We are going in and adding that to our tracking sheet so that saves us from having to do an online tracking sheet. We're using that to create our uploads to all of the software that we do, making everything much more scalable. And that's one of the big pain points we have is it's very hard to put together an online arbitrage tracking sheet. There's not a lot of things to do it very easily. And I think it's easily a great feature. It's probably very simple, but just adds a tremendous amount of value in my mind.
Right. So once you save it here, you can also, click the same download button, download, and you'll already have all that information.
Yeah, exactly. You have now the ASIN, and if it's a parent or child, you have the correct child ASIN. You have the pricing info for both Amazon and where you're buying it from. You get a ton of info and can easily copy and paste it into a tracking sheet. You probably have a lot more info here than you would necessarily want or need, but it's easy enough just to copy out what you are using.
Right, definitely. Sorry, can we go over what again? Is it LJ? Sorry. Okay. So we'll move on until you can respond to that. Okay, so if we go back over, I'm going to go back over to our searches, and if anybody has any questions on what any of this does, I don't think we need to go over every option because every webinar, basically covers this, and we only do a few of the more simple things. You download what you buy and put it into your tracking sheet for replens. Right, so once you put it into your save list by clicking on the heart, which I'll show you over here. So this is your save list. You just click on the heart to bring it into the saves. What you can do from here is you can create folders, or you can just save it from here, and you can download your. I just downloaded it, so if you want to see that download button again, you have to reload it. But if you download it, you'll have it saved as a spreadsheet, and then you can just copy and paste it into whatever you're using for tracking your online arbitrage purchases. Hope that covers it. So when we're doing a search, and I think a lot of people have an issue with the bulk upload. Even us who've created, so many that everybody seems to be using now. I still download the example, and if you read, the examples, then it'll remove 99% of the problems that you have. The biggest problem is people are trying to either the list that I sell, we see people just trying to upload the whole list, which there's extra data that has to be deleted. And there's a good example. No matter if you're making the list or not, all of these files, these sites that use templates, whether it's ScanPower or Tactical Arbitrage or any of the tools, you have to use it exactly the way the example shows. So you can only have 3 columns here. Now, if you have, if you want to do a multi-domain search, which you can search on more than one site, the site names have to exactly match what you see in Tactical Arbitrage. So if you're going to do a scan at one site, you can, all you need is the category information, which is shown to you for every site. So it's going to show you an example. So your search has to look similar to this. You know, some sites like Walmart, these are actually Target's category. They only use a 5-digit code. You don't need the full link. At Walmart, they have a category ID code, which is longer, but basically the same. It's just some numbers, and that's all you use. Most sites are going to use a full link that looks like this, and that's what you're going to copy in there. So you can just select that and you paste it in there in the page you want to start on and the page you want to end on, and that's all the information. You know, it would be nice if we could have an extra column with a description of what the stuff actually is, but it won't work. If you upload it, you're not going to get an error. It's just not going to work. Eddie said that Alex suggested to use Google Sheets as a system from which to download the bulk list. That is, copy the template to Google Sheet and then download it from there before uploading to TA. This is because of formatting issues. Is that what you do also, Sean? No. And what's the difference between the keys and the UPC option for searches? I believe you're talking, okay, so that's two different questions. We'll get to that one next, Abe, but that's just on Walmart. So Alex suggested that you use tactical arbitrage because, Google Sheets, because so many people were having problems and they couldn't quite figure out how to get it working. So, you know, if you're using a Mac, you can't just use CSV. So if I go to save this file, I'll show you there's multiple CSVs that you can be using. So I'm on a PC, so as you can see here, there's CSV, regular comma delimited, there's CSV Macintosh, and there's CSV MS-DOS. And if you're on a Mac, the regular CSV won't work. So if I use CSV, the regular CSV or the MS-DOS version, they'll work with tactical arbitrage, but the Macintosh version doesn't work. And if you're on a Macintosh, any kind of Mac, the CSV version's not going to work. It's going to be, you're going to upload it, it's not going to get an error, and it just don't pop up because the way tactical arbitrage works is that when you upload a file, it's going to, as soon as you hit upload, it's going to receive it and it's going to check every line of that, and if it doesn't match, if it has an extra category, if it has more than 400 lines, sometimes it'll say over 400 lines that, you know, it just removes the extra lines. But, you know, all the other issues, it just doesn't work. So instead of explaining that over and over and over again, you know, he says just to use it, to copy it into there. We didn't do that for any of the lists that we sell, and we sell whatever it is now, 30, 40 different lists that, you know, have been uploaded, who knows now, thousands of times. And there's never been a problem. If you edit one of those lists, delete stuff, and then just save it, it will work. So what I always suggest you do, and a lot of people want to create their own lists from scratch. So I always suggest that you, every time you're going to create your own, you just do what I just did. Click here, download the example. It's going to upload it in Excel or whatever your editor is. And then don't go to save as, just go and save it and rename it or whatever you need to do. But it's going to save it in the same format that it's already in. So you don't have to worry about that. If you create a new file, copy your information in there, and then go to save it as a CSV. If you're on a Mac, it won't work. You'll have to save it as different versions have different saving versions. So some will say Windows and some say MS-DOS. So if you do either one of those, they'll work. If you save it in the native Mac format, it won't work. If you're on a PC and you save it in Macintosh format, it's still not going to work. But it's going to, that's really the only problem with formatting, because it's a different, you know, comma separated file. That's what a CSV is. It's separated by commas. Each cell will have a comma in between them. And that's all there is to it. Is it Yes, at either it is possible to create a bulk template for multiple websites or not. It shows you you should see the instructions right on your screen right now. But when you go to upload, you'll see this. It's just a D column that's labeled domain, and it has to exactly match. So if you're using the Keys version of Walmart, it has to look like that. It just can't say walmart.com. It has to be exactly like it's in the pull down, or it's in the full list of supported domains. You can click on that button and it's going to upload that Google Sheet right there. Which this is a great list to go over, but you can just copy this information and paste it right into your into whatever sheet you're using. But I always suggest to just use a template. I mean, it's the easiest thing to do. Just copy and paste it right in there. You have your headers. If one thing's capitalized and it's not supposed to be, it's not going to work. And it's the same with all of these. They usually always have to match exactly. So Abe, the question is, what's the difference between the keys and the UPC options for searches? So I assume you're talking on the web-based version, the store version, and not flips. If so, there's only one thing that uses keys, and that's Walmart. As you can see, walmart.com with keys and walmart.com. So what I discovered, which I have another tool called backend sourcing, and which is exclusively for Walmart. And what we discovered is that Walmart's basically been lying to us, and there's a lot more stuff than is really there. So I know from experience, I've downloaded the complete Walmart database, that there's 4.2 million different items listed in the Walmart catalog. So that's very misleading. People thought maybe 1 million or 2 million. But if you go to walmart.com, you may have never noticed, but you've never looked at any category, any page that had more than 25 pages. And that's the limit that Walmart's put on all of their pages. So if you use the key version, there's no limit. The only limit is you can do 5,000 calls at a time, and you can be looking at up to 100 items per call. So, you're probably never going to use all your web calls. I mean, I do, because I do a lot of crazy stuff with Walmart. But it's completely free to set up your Walmart key. And if you PM me later, I have a video walking you through getting your Walmart keys and putting them in the tactical arbitrage. It'll literally take maybe 3 or 4 minutes to do. I think the video is longer than it should take you. So if you search at walmart.com, you can only see 1,000 items in each category. There's 40 items per page, and you can, as I just said, you can only look at up to 25 pages in any category, any search. But with using the keys, if you download that key, put it in there, you can now. I know that at least one category has over 100,000 items in it. But if you do it through the regular Walmart.com, you're only going to see up to 1,000, because no matter what you do, you can't, go past those 25 pages. And currently, the only way I know to get, to find out how many pages there are is by, buying our list, which this is not it. But, I can show you all what a huge difference it is, because since you can't go to Walmart, you can't, download that information, we've been able to pull the whole, through the API, the whole category, every category. So we know how many items there are. So as you can see, it goes up to 924 pages. If we look at, so this list is showing home improvement hand tools have 92,384 items. If you search this category, and it's going to show you, you're going to be able to search 924 pages because it does 100. Tactical Arbitrage does 100 items at a time. If you do it through the web, you're only going to see the first 25 pages. So you're only going to see the first 1,000 items. The other 91 plus 1,000 are not going to be shown. So I hope that clears that up for you. I can't believe we're 45 minutes in already. So did anybody else have any other questions on this? If we do a search, I believe I've already got a Walmart uploaded. So when you complete one, the last thing that you upload into the bulk uploader, until you upload something else, it's always going to be there. So this is the last search I did. I have to remove this out to actually do a bulk search. And you can click last filter settings. I think they're setting up multiple filters, but some of the most important things to look at is, of course, the rank you want to stay under, your ROI. I mean, I keep it pretty simple, but if you want to calculate your shipping costs, if you're using a third-party company, if you're using discount cards, I know most of you use discount cards, you can enter that information here. So if you're saving whatever it is at Walmart, 3 to 5%, you can enter 3% in there. If you're using a cashback site for 2%, you can enter that information in there. Sales tax, you're probably not going to be using at Walmart. Some sites you just have to pay sales tax with. And a lot of good, great things you can use, especially when you're buying clothing and shoes. You can remove products in Amazon with certain keywords. And you can also remove from the source title when searching on Amazon. So, if you don't want, like Adidas, for example, with all the problems today, you could remove products with Amazon that had the word Adidas in it. So you're not even going to get those results. But the second one looks similar, but when you're searching, you could remove Adidas from the search. So if it's doing a title search, if it had Adidas in the title on the source, but you didn't want it to search for that for some reason, on Amazon, you could remove that as well. But that's not removing the items, it's removing it from the search words. As well as the next one is to add to the search. So you can add certain words. So if you were looking only for multi-packs, if you're looking at health and beauty or grocery, similar to what we were doing, than I was doing in my last search, if you only wanted to look for bundles or only wanted to look for multi-packs, then you could enter that into here. If you put for example, if you put pack in here, so if you put pack in here or multi-pack or bundle, then whatever it's searched for. So let's say these Nestle Toll House semi-sweet chocolates, then it would add this word to the search. So it would add to the end pack or bundle or multi-pack or whatever it is that you entered in there. So it would only find the ones that have multi-pack listings on Amazon. And the same thing with, removing the products. Going back to that, if you, right now we're in multiple season. If you buy groceries, you could remove all listings that said chocolate in it, because if it says chocolate in the listing, you probably won't be able to sell it. The next one is the source of a lot of confusion and questions. Only calculate FBA return if Amazon sales price is at least this many times the store price. So, if you're buying it for 20, you want to sell for at least 50, you could put 2.5 here, and you're not going to find, it's not going to return any items that aren't at least 2.5 times the store price. You know, so if you're doing shoes, things like that, it can be really helpful. If you separate the words you enter by commas, it won't look at combinations of those terms, correct? For example, add bag and bundle while doing 2 separate searches. I'm not really sure. You know, I can ask Alex about that and get back to you, but I really don't do that because I sell, you know, usually the items are going to be linked together, or you know, I'm not afraid to sell things for $10, or, you know, I have a whole warehouse full of employees, so, you know, it really doesn't matter to me if I'm selling items for, you know, a single or a multi-pack. So, you know, that really isn't a big concern to me. I know it's a big concern to a lot of sellers, but it's not something that I've really tried multiple words for, and I really don't use that search term, but I know it's very important to a lot of sellers, but I can look into that. I'll let you guys know. Cost to prep, standard product, or cost to prep oversized product. So if you're using a fulfillment center, a prep center, then you can enter you know, whatever your prep fees are, and it's going to automatically add it into the cost and figure that out with your ROI and returns. So you know, if you have to pay $1 for standard and $2 for oversized, you can enter that in. It's going to calculate that so you know your ROI and your profits before you even have to look at it. Cost to create a bundle. This is just, a lot of these are the same ones duplicated, just, you know, in multiple lines. Cost per pound to ship. Keep data if gross profit is at least a certain amount. So if you have a you know, a $5 minimum gross profit that you want, you can enter that information here. And of course, your ROI, we always want at least 50% ROI, so you can enter whatever your number is here. And then this is to show when there's no match. So if it doesn't find a UPC and then doesn't find a match for the title, to also show that. Normally it won't show that. And this is to only show those. So if you want to go over and do those kind of things, then you can set this, and it's going to show you those things that other sellers aren't going to find. And then show out of stock results. I think this is a very important one because when I watch the returns that I get in the actual console, I see a lot of out of stock results. So this is something that Alex just added. I'm not sure. I think it's only been a few days now. Then it's going to show those. And this one is going to only show that information. So that's basically the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and KJ, did you have anything to add to the search page?
Yeah, I just wanted to just touch in and talk a little bit about the strategy we use when we're, you know, setting up some of these filters.
Right.
We try to go a little bit more broad than we're actually looking for. So if we normally try to stay above a 50% ROI, we might use a 30% ROI. If we normally try to stay above a $10 net profit, we might set it to a $7 net profit. And this comes back to our general sourcing strategy, which is if we look at 3 main factors when sourcing, the sales velocity or sales rank, the net profit, and the return on the investment. you don't need all 3 of them to be good. We need 2 out of 3 of them to be good. And I wouldn't want the software to discount something that's got a 43% return on investment, that's got a very high net profit and looks like it's going to move very quickly. I would still be inclined to buy that item. So we try to stay, set the filters a little broader than we would actually, than the guidelines that we normally source by.
Yeah, definitely. We try and stay under 100,000 and probably 60 or 70% ROI. So, that's why we set those, the way we did. And, oops, use bulk. And I just wanted to go over a little bit about, what's actually going on when you're doing the searches. Okay, I'm not doing a search. Let me try that again. And of course, if you have any problems, building your bulk files, just let me know. We have really a ton of experience doing that. For some reason, when people start out, they seem to have a problem, getting that going. But once you get one going, you don't usually have many problems there. And as far as flips, is everybody doing the flips as well with tactical arbitrage yet? Because you can run those at the same time. Use, do your store search and do a flip search together. No, yeah, we can definitely do a flip. I'm just going to get this going, and if it will let me. I don't know if it's because I have something going in a different page. I've actually never seen this error before. It says I'm running 2 processes at the same time. Yes, Diana, this is recorded. All webinars that Jay and I do are always recorded. Try this one more time, then we can move on. Okay, so of course, now it loads. So as you can see, if you do a search and you already find a product at this store, it will say that it already got the product. It's going to show you the time it started and stopped. And if it was skipped, it's going to tell you why. So I have FBA calculations set to local right now, and because it's a lot faster, you can have it go to Amazon and get that information. It's going to take about an extra second for each time to do the calculation. So we found that it's close enough using the local version that we haven't, we haven't seen much of a difference really at all. So we go ahead and let it do the local calculation. I mean, it saves time. A second may not seem like much, but when you're doing 10 or 15,000 items a day, it's really going to add up. as well as the type of search. This is the most important part here, I think, is because it's doing a UPC search here. So it's going to show you if it's a UPC search, it shows you the ASIN, the kind of calculation, and then if it was skipped or added. I mean, there's a search I just did, so it may not really add anything. These are items that it's already added. So it added this, it added this, it added this. And then it's going to skip these because checking them again, it's going to tell you why it's skipped here because of the rank filter. So that means it's over 150,000 in rank. This one is a gross ROI, so it's under 50,000 for the ROI. And you can really follow along and see a lot of what's going on. I don't watch every single thing that goes on. I don't, I'm not really worried about individual items, but what I want to do is I want to see how it's doing the searches, how it's working, how often it's pulling the information, and if it's mostly getting UPC matches, or if there's no UPC matches, it's going to have to move on to doing a title search. So that's going to show you how good of a matching site it is, because if we go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and close this down now, and when you get to this main site, there's links to a lot of important things that you're going to need when you're doing your tactical arbitrage search. And one of the most important ones is going to be to look at the type of matching. So you'll see that the first one is called domains with UPC. So if you click on it, it's going to take you to a list of every site that's currently supported and the type of matching that it's doing. So, you probably don't want ones that are doing good or average or, especially not poor title matching. But the ones that do UPC matching are the ones you want. And for the lists that we're creating, we've done quite a few that did title matching, but I mean, there's so many issues that we basically been working our way down the list and just doing the ones that do UPC unless there's, a lot of interest in it. So I would think about what sites that you want to source at, and then go in here and look at the type of matching that it's doing. Because if it's doing that title matching, that's going to find the item on the source site. Then it's going to go to Amazon and it's going to search for the title. And that's all the matching it can do, because the source isn't providing the UPC for that item. That's the only way it's going to be able to find them. So as you can imagine, it's going to be a lot harder. It's basically going to be like you going to Amazon and searching for every title, only faster. You probably want to stick to the ones that are going to do UPC matching. Video tutorials. Alex has made about 10 videos on using tactical arbitrage. We probably covered most of that in here. XPath examples is for, again, the advanced user interface when you want to create your own, add your own sites. Recent updates is just the update list. It's all, you can also get it by clicking it at the top. And the premium bulk lists are all the lists that, the third-party lists. I've created most of these. There's other ones that some other people have made. I only make them for the US sites and the one in Canada. But they're, if you're selling in the UK or you want to buy from the UK to sell here, then those can be useful for doing the international flipping, as well as for your Amazon flips. People use these for all kinds of different things, but there's basically a list of every category in each one of these Amazon subcategories. So You know, for toys, it's every subcategory in toys, which you can use for Amazon flips, as well as the amount of pages. You know, we're already over our hour, but I'm going to go ahead and go through the flips pretty quickly. So if you have any questions on doing flips, then we'll definitely try and help you out with that. So let's view. You're just going to click on Amazon Flips and do the search, and you're going to get a similar search page. So one of the things that I haven't made a list of, maybe that's something I should create, but the Amazon movers and shakers. We found quite a few good stuff in here, and there's a few other categories like the newly introduced items. We'll run through those. They all have 5 pages each, you know. So this is something that you could basically run every single day. But if you go to movers and shakers, you have all these categories here. You can just copy this title, and movers and shakers and the new releases and all that only show 100 items. So you can go just do page 1 through 5 and it still works. So now you'll notice I have these lists, these 2 check boxes here. You may not have those. That's only if you're using if you have your own Keepa API, you can do that. So if you don't have your own Keepa API, you can't do bulk flips. So let's see, do we have our last settings? So these are the settings we use. Remove ranks over 100,000. You know, if you're doing shoes, you may want to make that significantly lower or not. I'm not sure how you do your research for shoes. You can remove products with more than a certain amount of sellers. You can remove products where the average new price is less than a certain amount. So, you know, if the third party, when they say new, that means third party seller. When it's Amazon, it's items that Amazon is selling. So this is useful if, you know, you may not want to sell anything that's less than $10 or $15 or $20 when Amazon's out of stock. So you can enter that information there. Only analyze if Amazon has been out of stock for a certain percent or less in the last however many days. So if Amazon's been out of stock or been in stock, you know, maybe only 10% in the last so many days, or, you know, whatever, I guess, number you want. I really don't, I don't use that, this field, but you definitely want to do all 5 of these, and I'll explain to you what those are. To calculate the average Amazon sales price during the last, I use 60. You can use anything you want, lower, higher. This is the average price Amazon was selling it for. The next one is the average price that third-party sellers were selling it for, average new sales price. The third one is the average new sales price, but only when Amazon was out of stock. So the second one is when Amazon's in stock. It's actually the total days, but it's including when Amazon was in stock. And this one is going to show you only when Amazon was out of stock. The fourth one is going to show you the lowest price that Amazon was selling it for. And the last one is going to show you the lowest price third-party sellers were selling it for. And then for the filters, we usually use this one. It's to show the average new sales price when Amazon was out of stock. Said that like that, but we usually use the 2.5 times the average, the Amazon average sales price. So when they're out of stock, it's going to make it so it only shows us when it's 2.5 times what Amazon was selling for, their average price. So the third-party price is 2.5 times the Amazon's average price. The next one will be whatever the number is times the lowest Amazon price. And the last one is to show if the current price is a specific percent of the average new sales price or average Amazon sales price or lower. And the last option is to explore the variations. With this option has only been added in the last week or so, but this is really one of the best things here now because it will show you, it's going to look at every variation. So it can take quite a bit of time. You know, some shoes and clothes have hundreds of variations in it. So we're going to try doing a quick search. This is the movers and shakers for shoes. Actually, I didn't have it. So this is going to pull all of them in because I didn't select any of these that I wanted to do. But anything that fits my criteria, this is just an extra set of filters. And you can use all of them or use none of them. This is going to show us everything under 100,000. And then while it's running, you can also do bulk categories. But as I said, okay, this has a limit of 100. When you do stores, it has a limit of 400. But you have to be using your own API, which I made a video on creating your own API. Jay, I'm sure you guys have your own Keepa API code for using tactical arbitrage if you're doing flips. If not, there's it uses a 3-day cache, so the data can be up to 3 days old if people have searched for it in the past, as well as being able to use bulk categories. That's what doing that does. And it costs 39 euros to do the one that you're going to need, and that's about $43 a month. And as you can see here, it's going to show you how many tokens you have left. On this one, I actually have 2. I use one for testing, so it only gives me actually two tokens per minute. And that's the one I have turned on right now. So, of course, the 2 tokens a minute isn't going to help you because they, I believe every 30 minutes they expire. You know, so yeah, it is because I started at 60. So it's going to just keep recycling. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me privately or in the ACE group. Was there any more questions before we end the webinar? Or is there anything else you want to add, Jay?
One just came up. A question just came up.
Is there a quick way to know when a website you are considering to create a custom template for is UPC-based or not? Like, example, click on view source and then look for something specific. If you know the UPC, then I would search for that. I would go look for an item. There's usually not something that says UPC equals because each site is going to have different types of data. What I would do is look for, go there, find an item that you think you can find a UPC for relatively easily, and then find that UPC and make sure you know it's going to be the right one, and then view the source, view the code for that page, and search for the UPC. You know it's going to be it's going to be a string of 12 numbers. So look for that UPC, look for a string of 12 numbers that might be a UPC, and if you don't find it by finding the exact one, which is what we do, we'll work backwards, and then we're going to go and we're going to look in that code and look for, you know, a 12-digit number, and we'll search, go to Google, search for that 12-digit number, see if it's actually a UPC. You know, there's quite a few UPC databases out there, so you can search and look up that that number and see if it's in that database. It might not be in Google, but it might be on a UPC database. You know, and then we can go from there. But you know, unfortunately, it's not that simple, and you know, a lot of sites don't have that. You know, if you're looking at like manufacturer sites, or you know, any of the bigger sites, you know, like Bloomingdale's we've made, that's not in TA yet, you know, and they don't have it. Most of the custom ones we've made don't have it. You know, so anything that's like a manufacturer, you know, if you go to, you know, Fossil Watches or, you know, anything like that, they have their own stores, they're usually not going to have UPCs, because they don't, you know, they don't care if they're selling in their own stores. You know, IKEA, a place like that, isn't going to have UPC codes. They don't even have UPC codes on their products, and a lot of those stores don't even have UPC products, especially clothes, you know, and shoes. We've seen that happens a lot. You know, some of the bigger ones like Nike and, you know, Adidas and Reebok, they will, because they're selling, you know, in so many places, they're using real UPCs. But a lot of them, you know, may not even care about UPCs. If they're the manufacturer, they have their own manufacturer stores, and they're not selling, you know, in a lot of retail stores, then they don't care or want an actual UPC. The list that I generate, does it do it automatically? If you mean the list that we make, no, we have programmers that pull all the data off of a site to create those lists. You know, it's so I mean, I guess it is an automated type process. But you know, we're usually accessing the API if they have one, or using a, you know, third-party API. You know, it's not something you can hire a VA for. There's, you know, 10,000 or more categories on some sites. You know, we found some that are very, very big. You know, especially Walmart was one of the biggest. Home Depot was big, but some that you don't expect. You know, even Sierra Trading Post was, you know, over 1,000 different categories, which, you know, wasn't something we were expecting. Dick's Sporting Goods had almost 10,000. It was actually over 12,000, but after we removed the, what you would call junk, that, you know, weren't really categories, we were at like 9,600 categories in the list that, you know, you can now get.